Let me be honest with you right now, and I mean really honest. The kind of honest that most doctors won't be in a 15-minute office visit. I've been practicing nephrology for over 30 years. I've sat across from thousands of patients, men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who came in with creatinine levels that were through the roof. And you know what? Almost every single one of them was doing the same handful of things wrong every single night before they went to bed. Not during the day, at night. Here's the thing that gets me. Most people think kidney health is about what you eat for lunch, how much water you drink, maybe cutting back on salt. And yeah, those things matter. But what you do in those final 2 hours before you close your eyes, that's when the real damage happens, or the real healing happens. It's your choice. So today, I'm going to walk you through 8 nighttime habits that can genuinely lower your creatinine levels and protect your kidneys. Naturally, without prescription drugs starting tonight. And I'll tell you this, habit number 5 is something I almost never see talked about in mainstream medicine, but I've watched it change patient outcomes in ways that honestly still surprise me after all these years. Stay with me until the end, because that one alone is worth your time. Now, before we get into the habits, let me give you a quick picture of what's actually happening inside your body while you sleep. Because once you understand this, everything else is going to make a lot more sense. Most people assume the kidneys rest at night. They don't. In fact, nighttime is prime time for your kidneys. While you're asleep, your body shifts into repair mode. Blood pressure drops, inflammation decreases, and your kidneys get their best shot at filtering out the waste products that have built up throughout the day, including creatinine. Creatinine, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a waste product that comes from the normal breakdown of muscle tissue. Your kidneys are supposed to filter it out and flush it through your urine. When creatinine levels start climbing in your blood work, that's your kidneys telling you they're struggling to keep up. But here's what most people don't realize. The kidneys can only do that deep filtration and repair work efficiently when the conditions are right. When you give them the right environment at night, they thrive. When you don't, when you're eating the wrong things, drinking the wrong things, looking at your phone, or sleeping in a position that stresses your bladder, you're essentially forcing your kidneys to work triple overtime during the one window they have to recover. That's why these 8 habits matter so much. Let's get into them. The first habit is cutting out screens at least 1 hour before bed. I know. You've heard this before, but I want you to understand why this specifically matters for your kidneys, not just your sleep. When you're staring at your phone or the TV late at night, the blue light suppresses your body's production of melatonin. Now, most people know melatonin as the sleep hormone, but what they don't know is that melatonin also plays a direct role in kidney function. Research has shown that melatonin has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that protect kidney tissue at the cellular level. When melatonin drops, and it drops hard when you're scrolling through your phone at 10 p.m., your kidneys lose that protective cover. Filtration efficiency goes down. Cellular repair slows, and over time, creatinine levels creep up. For my older male patients especially, this is a big deal. As men age, melatonin production naturally declines anyway. You don't need to be sabotaging what little you've got left by watching YouTube until midnight. Put the phone down. Turn off the TV. Give your body that hour of darkness it needs to ramp up melatonin production and let your kidneys do their job. The second habit is rethinking your dinner, specifically how much animal protein you're eating at night. I've had this conversation with so many guys over the years. They come in, they're eating a big steak or a double chicken breast for dinner, thinking they're being healthy, keeping their protein up. And I get it. Men, especially as they get older, are told to maintain muscle mass, keep the protein high. But here's the problem. When you eat a heavy animal protein meal at night, your kidneys have to work 3 times harder to filter out the nitrogen waste products that come from metabolizing all that protein. That's extra creatinine production, and it's happening right during the window when your kidneys should be recovering, not grinding. That doesn't mean you can never eat meat at dinner. It means shifting your heavier protein meals to earlier in the day. Lunch is ideal, and keeping dinner lighter. Think vegetables, leafy greens, maybe some plant-based protein. Legumes are actually great for kidney health. Berries, blueberries, strawberries are fantastic because they're loaded with antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress on kidney tissue. Turmeric is another one I recommend constantly. The active compound curcumin has a potent anti-inflammatory effect that directly benefits the kidneys. Think of it this way. You wouldn't run your dishwasher on the heaviest cycle when the water pressure is at its lowest. Don't give your kidneys the hardest job at the time they have the least capacity to handle it. The third habit is one I call the nighttime kidney drink. And honestly, this is one of the most practical things I share with patients, because everything in it is already in most people's kitchens. Here's what you do. About 30 minutes before bed, mix up a cup of warm water, around 6 to 7 ounces, with the juice of half a fresh lemon, a quarter teaspoon of pure turmeric powder, a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, and a teaspoon of raw honey. Stir it well until the honey dissolves and drink it slowly. Now let me break down why each ingredient matters. Because this isn't just some folk remedy, there's real biochemistry at work here. The warm water itself stimulates a gentle detox process and supports blood flow to the kidneys. Fresh lemon juice provides vitamin C and citric acid, which helps reduce the acidity in your body, prevents kidney stone formation, and supports the urinary tract. Turmeric, and I cannot overstate this. The curcumin in turmeric is one of the most studied natural anti-inflammatory compounds we have. It reduces swelling in kidney tissue, protects cells from oxidative damage, and has been shown in multiple studies to support kidney function in patients with chronic kidney disease. The extra virgin olive oil improves the absorption of curcumin. Fat-soluble compounds need fat to be absorbed, and also provides its own anti-inflammatory benefits. And raw honey adds natural enzymes and antioxidants that support the body's detox processes overnight. This drink isn't going to replace your medication if you're on it, but as a daily habit, it gives your kidneys a real advantage going into the night. A lot of my patients have noticed a meaningful difference in their creatinine readings after a few weeks of doing this consistently. It's simple, it's cheap, and it takes about 2 minutes to make. The fourth habit is cutting off sugar and refined carbs after dinner. This one surprises people. They think, "Dr. Prescott, I don't have diabetes. Why does sugar matter for my kidneys?" And this is exactly the kind of thing I wish more people knew. When you eat sugar or white bread or crackers or any refined carbohydrate late at night, your body releases a spike of insulin to handle it. Insulin, in high amounts, tells your kidneys to retain more sodium in water. That increases pressure on the delicate filtration membranes in your kidneys, the glomeruli. Over time, that repeated pressure causes microscopic damage. Think of it like running high water pressure through a fine mesh filter every single night. Eventually, the mesh starts to break down. And here's something that even some of my colleagues don't emphasize enough. Recent studies have shown that people without diabetes can still develop accelerated kidney damage from chronic high sugar intake, especially at night when the body's insulin response is slower and less efficient. You don't have to be diabetic for sugar to be hurting your kidneys. So instead of reaching for that bowl of ice cream or those cookies after dinner, swap it out for a handful of raw almonds, a cup of chamomile tea, or some fresh fruit if you really need something sweet. Your kidneys will notice the difference. The fifth habit is hydrating correctly in the evening. And I want to be specific here, because there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. Most men I see are either not drinking enough water in the evening, or they're chugging a big glass right before bed and then waking up 3 times a night to use the bathroom, which disrupts the kidney's repair cycle. Neither extreme is good. The sweet spot is to drink your last significant glass of water about 90 minutes to 2 hours before you go to sleep. That gives your kidneys enough time to process it and reduces nighttime bathroom trips. The water should be at room temperature or slightly warm. Cold water can cause a mild vascular constriction that isn't ideal for kidney blood flow. Also, for the love of everything, ditch the caffeine after 2 p.m. Coffee, energy drinks, even some teas. Caffeine forces your kidneys to work overtime, increases urine production, and impairs your sleep quality, which, as we discussed, directly affects kidney repair. I've had patients who cut out their evening coffee and saw their creatinine levels drop within a month. Not because of anything fancy, just because their kidneys finally got to rest properly. The sixth habit is managing your blood pressure before bed. Elevated blood pressure at night, what doctors call nocturnal hypertension, is one of the most underdiagnosed and most damaging conditions for the kidneys. High blood pressure damages the small blood vessels that feed the kidneys, reducing their ability to filter blood effectively. And here's the kicker. A lot of men don't even know their blood pressure is elevated at night because it can be normal during the day. If you've been told you have high blood pressure or even borderline high blood pressure, I strongly encourage you to check your pressure in the evening and have a conversation with your doctor about nighttime readings. But beyond medication, there are things you can do habitually. Avoid salty snacks at night, avoid alcohol in the evenings, practice slow deep breathing for 5 minutes before bed. There's good evidence that slows the sympathetic nervous system response and brings blood pressure down. And consider a short 10-minute walk after dinner to help your vascular system wind down. These aren't complicated interventions, they're habits, and habits compounded over weeks and months are what change creatinine trajectories. The 7th habit involves how you sleep, specifically your sleep position, and making sure you're actually getting quality, uninterrupted sleep. Deep, restorative sleep, what we call slow-wave sleep, is when the body's major cellular repair processes kick in. The kidneys ramp up their detox work during this phase. When sleep is fragmented, when you're tossing and turning, waking up frequently, or getting only 5 or 6 hours, your kidneys don't get enough time in that repair window. For men with any degree of sleep apnea, and this is incredibly common in older men, especially those who are overweight, the problem is compounded severely. Every apnea episode causes a drop in oxygen, which stresses every organ in your body, kidneys included. If you snore heavily, if your partner says you stop breathing at night, if you wake up exhausted no matter how many hours you sleep, please get evaluated for sleep apnea. Treating sleep apnea is one of the most impactful things you can do for long-term kidney health. I've seen it firsthand more times than I can count. As for sleep position, sleeping on your side, particularly your left side, is generally considered better for kidney drainage than sleeping flat on your back, where acid reflux and pressure dynamics can interfere with urinary flow. It's a small thing, but small things done consistently add up. The 8th habit is one I promised you, and it's the one that genuinely surprises most people when I bring it up in the office: urination posture. Stay with me here because I know this sounds unusual, but the research on this is real, and the feedback I get from patients who adopt it is consistently positive. Most men urinate standing up, and while that's perfectly normal and there's nothing inherently wrong with it, the physics of standing urination don't allow for complete bladder emptying. Gravity pulls the urine down, but the bladder doesn't fully contract and release in that position. The result is that a small amount of urine, residual urine, is left behind in the bladder after every trip to the bathroom. That residual urine isn't just a minor inconvenience. Over time, it becomes a breeding ground for bacteria, which can lead to urinary tract infections. And UTIs, particularly in older men, can travel upstream and cause kidney infections, pyelonephritis, that significantly damage kidney tissue and drive up creatinine levels. Beyond infection risk, residual urine creates back pressure in the urinary system, which puts stress on the kidney's filtration function over time. Now here's what I tell my male patients. Try sitting down to urinate, particularly your last bathroom trip before bed. And when you sit, lean slightly forward, relax the pelvic floor muscles completely, and hold that position for a few extra seconds after you think you're done. This allows the bladder to fully contract and empty completely. Studies have confirmed that men who urinate sitting down show better bladder emptying than men who stand. I've had guys come back to me after a month of doing this and say, I'm paraphrasing here, but the sentiment is consistent. Doc, I can't believe something that simple made a difference. They're sleeping better, they're waking up less at night, and in some cases their creatinine follow-ups have been noticeably improved. It's not magic, it's mechanics. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about something I think is really important, and it connects all 8 of these habits together. A lot of you watching this are probably at a stage where your doctor has mentioned your creatinine levels, maybe said something like, "We need to watch this," or "Your kidney function is declining a bit." And I know how scary that is. I've watched men sit across from me and hear those words and feel the ground shift under their feet. Especially men who've spent their whole lives being strong, being the provider, handling things. Being told that something inside your body is quietly failing on you hits different. But here's what I want you to hear from me. With 30 years of watching this play out in real people's lives, the kidneys are remarkably resilient. They can recover. They can stabilize. I've seen men in stage 3 chronic kidney disease turn things around with consistent lifestyle changes. Not always, not for everyone, and I'm not making promises, but I've seen it enough times to know that what you do every day and every night genuinely matters. The reason I focus so much on nighttime habits is because the night is the most underutilized tool in kidney health. People focus on what pills to take, what foods to avoid during the day, what supplements to buy, and that stuff matters. But sleep is free. Sitting down to urinate is free. Making that lemon and turmeric drink costs maybe $1. Turning your phone off an hour earlier costs nothing. These aren't fancy interventions. They're disciplines. And the men I've seen do the best, the ones who kept their creatinine stable, who avoided dialysis longer than anyone expected, who felt genuinely better year after year, weren't always the ones on the best medications. They were the ones who took the small stuff seriously every single day, without exception. So let me give you a quick rundown of all 8 so you can write them down or screenshot this right now. 1. Put the screens away at least 1 hour before bed to protect your melatonin and your kidney's overnight repair cycle. 2. Shift your heavy animal protein to lunch. Keep dinner light, plant-based, and anti-inflammatory. 3. Make the nighttime kidney drink. Warm water, lemon, turmeric, extra virgin olive oil, raw honey, about 30 minutes before bed. 4. No sugar or refined carbs after dinner. Swap the cookies for almonds. Swap the soda for chamomile tea. 5. Hydrate correctly. Drink your last full glass of water about 90 minutes before bed. Cut caffeine by 2 p.m. 6. Manage your evening blood pressure through diet, breathing, and a short post-dinner walk. 7. Prioritize deep, uninterrupted sleep. If you suspect sleep apnea, get evaluated. It's one of the biggest hidden threats to kidney function in men. 8. Adopt proper urination posture. Sit down for your last bathroom trip of the night. Lean forward, relax, and fully empty your bladder. That's it. 8 habits. None of them require a prescription. None of them cost much money. All of them work best when you do them consistently over weeks and months, not just once or twice. I want to leave you with one last thought, and it's something I tell every patient I see who's worried about their kidneys. A small increase in creatinine, even half a point, isn't something to brush off. The kidneys have enormous reserve capacity, which means by the time your numbers start moving, the damage has often been building for years. But that also means that every positive habit you build now has compounding benefits. You're not just trying to stop a decline. You're investing in a system that, if you treat it right, will work hard for you for years to come. Your kidneys have been filtering your blood every single minute of every day of your entire life without you ever thinking about them. They deserve a little attention now, and they deserve your best effort every night. If you found this helpful, share it with someone you know who's dealing with kidney issues or high creatinine, a family member, a friend, a buddy from work. This is the kind of information that genuinely changes outcomes when people actually apply it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.